This podcast is brought to you by the Beauty and Style Network. Be sure to check us out at beautyandstylenetwork.com and follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Hey, Whit.
Hi, babe.
Excited to get on the topic of weddings today with you.
Yes.
So, first question.
Okay.
How do weddings play a role in the beauty industry?
Well, for Whitney Evans Beauty, weddings were really kind of how our business got started. I was doing weddings on the weekend as well as working in the salon, and it's something that I loved. And I really wanted to share today for this episode, kind of the top things on the business side of weddings, because I think we focus on hair and makeup and how to create the perfect bride, but we don't talk about the business behind it, because the way you run weddings are completely different than what you would do in the normal salon.
No doubt.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I learned about that significantly from when you started doing weddings to where they are now.
Yes.
So that's absolutely. So I guess one of the biggest questions that I would have that I think someone would ask that would immediately help them is, you're doing weddings.
Yes.
You're building relationships with photographers. Your friends
Yes.
are getting married.
Mm-hmm.
Their friends hear about you, all that stuff. So
Yes.
How do you price a wedding?
Well, so back in the day, I would just charge. I made this huge mistake, and I hope that this helps anybody out there that is wanting to get in the wedding industry. But I would just charge whatever my salon charged that I worked at for an updo, and I would just go and do it. But then after a while, I started doing the math with that, and I realized, I was driving there. I was having to, buy extra bobby pins, extra supplies, extra makeup to do the wedding. And I was losing money versus what I would get paid to just work at the salon.
Right.
And you being the numbers man in our duo was Whit, this is not making sense.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing you need to do is you need to figure out what you want to make hourly. And that's how you price your weddings. And then make sure when you build your packages, when you make the hair price, the makeup price, it needs to make sense to how many hours you're going to be there, so that it would be even to what you would make on a normal salon day.
Love that. Because at the end of the day, once you step outside of the salon,
Yes.
the first thing that comes into play is cost to do business outside of the salon.
Yes.
And you got to think about those things. And what's awesome is a lot of people are so driven as artists.
Yes.
It's they're excited to do that. But then after you kind of look at it on a spreadsheet, you're like, might have lost $10 there.
I know.
So,
I mean, that was definitely me. I was all over the place, and and I try to help, especially the stylists that are starting out at our salon, Whitney Evans Beauty, really drive home it needs to be worth your time, because after a while you'll get burnout because you're not feeling like you're getting your value.
Mm-hmm.
And weddings are so hectic anyways. We joke in the salon that after you have a wedding, you have to go home and take a nap after. I don't know if it's the adrenaline. I don't know if it's the craziness of the day, but it does take a lot more out of you. Than the normal, I'm just going to come in and do some hair today in the salon. Most venues, especially here in our area of Knoxville, we travel to Gatlinburg or the outlying counties because it's so beautiful here, especially in fall, which we just started fall here in Tennessee. And it's just, you have to drive further. You got to make sure you have everything and an extra of everything, because you're most likely not around somewhere.
Right.
If something bad were to happen.
Right. That 7-Eleven on the highway.
No, yeah. If you're, all the way up in the Smoky Mountains, you're not going to be able to go just run and get an extra curling iron and nice.
Yeah. That's, golly, I never thought about that. And then you're asking people you don't know to borrow something. But we haven't had to do that, thankfully, because we prepare.
No. But yeah, I feel the number one thing is, so when you create your pricing, is to make sure it's worth your time.
100%.
And to break it down by the hour, know how long it's going to take you to do, you kind of know your speed as a stylist, and how long it's going to take you to do an updo, how long it'll take you to do makeup, especially after you have a trial with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you're making that amount of money per hour to make it worth your while.
100%.
Yes.
Well, and that kind of brings me to an example. I had a friend reach out to us the other day, and they were asking questions about pricing, and when to do this, when not to do this. And I was telling that person, like, it's different. It depends on, there's so many different variables based on time, of course.
Yes.
And then everything that is, encased in time is your drive time, your prep time.
Yeah. Emails.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. And photography and video are obviously huge parts of weddings, but I always tell, our girls, and I think you have as well too, that it matters how you look. And it also matters how you feel, how you look. So makeup and hair are huge elements of that. So price your worth. Never go above what, don't be greedy.
No.
Don't say, I'm going to charge this because I know the photography's whatever.
No.
But charge your worth. And your worth is based off of your time and the quality of work that you're going to give. And if you're dedicating yourself to something, that's worth something. So I think that's something to drive home. And anybody listen, if you ever have any questions, send us an email. Get a hold of us. We love questions because we wish we had someone back in, 6-7 years ago.
Yes, that would have helped.
What should we do here? We learned on trial and error. And you don't have to do that if you have the right questions.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like another thing that we implemented, and this is helpful because I did make friends with other people in, the wedding industry, is we implemented a contract. And that was so weird for the beauty industry because we've been so most people that come into the salon, they become your friends, especially if it's a client getting married. Everything's not formal. It's not like how they are when they meet with their photographer or their vendor or their caterer. Mm-hmm. But my photographer friend really was like, listen, you're a vendor too in this day. You're so important. I can't get good pictures if you do not, make them feel great on the beauty side. So you need to start treating this side of your business as such as, being a wedding vendor. And so we implemented a contract, and just to where we can communicate with our brides, everything up front. Costs, what we expect, what they expect, dates, times for everybody to get ready. And so we go over this in what we call a trial run, where we do their hair and makeup before. And so we can give them the best possible service wedding day. Mm-hmm. And all the kinks are worked out. We both have it in writing. And so the day of, there's not any hiccups. Everybody knows what's expected from everyone.
100%. Yeah, that preparation, we've seen time and time again, bring ease to that day.
Yes, so
much. Because if you're confident doing the hair and the makeup without any type of because it's energy.
It is,
yeah.
Yes.
And if, people like people to be experts and authoritative in what they do. So I think that's why we continue to see that, okay, this is working out.
Yeah.
All the hard work in the back end makes up for such a big day. So.
Yeah, and and it's not so much of we're greedy, we're going to get your money if you cancel on us, whatever. We're human beings, especially after the year 2020, we worked with all of our brides, reschedule their weddings and
months of,
absolutely. It's just to help protect both parties. I mean, even if, you had an issue with a stylist, I want everyone to feel like this is fair. This is a business transaction. This is something, that's professional versus oh yeah, I'm just going to show up and do your hair whenever. Because in the past when I was younger, and then I've worked with younger stylists, and before, I feel wedding and video and Instagram were such a thing where people were uber focused on their appearance for all these things, which they were before. But I feel it just brings another level of professionalism to this area.
Big time.
Yep.
Because it's in high demand. I mean, look. I was looking at numbers the other night just on the search volume for East Tennessee weddings.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. I mean, I saw that Tennessee's in some of the top 10 articles for wedding venues in the nation.
Yes. And we have a lot of out-of-town brides.
Yes, more people moving to the area.
Yes, and then having a contract that I can send them that we can communicate via email, because sometimes we don't even get to do a trial run with them because it's a destination wedding.
Right.
We keep everything organized on our business end to pay the stylist, make sure everything's clear. So contract.
And it sets expectations.
Yes.
So there's not any well, I thought this or you thought that. It's and you lay it out and it's done, and then you move on to the
Yes.
most fun part of it, and that's to be creative.
Yes, and
For
if anyone listening wants an example of a contract, we'd be happy to send you ours, and you can customize it to however you want. I know that's what we did in the beginning, so just feel free to message us.
Absolutely. Here to help.
And the next thing, too, with the contracts is to invoice ahead of time for the wedding.
Yeah,
This is
nobody wants to
another
do that on
thing
the
that
day of.
I've picked up over the years. So let's say it's 2012. Young Whitney is excited to go to a wedding. You know, it is out at, the Gatlinburg Mansion in the middle of the Smoky Mountains. And I do 10 bridesmaids, hair, makeup. I've been there for 6 hours. Love it. So excited. Me and my girlfriend that came to help me did it. Get to my car, count my cash as I'm going home, and I've been shorted about $500. I don't realize it, and there's nothing we can do. We've already left the venue, like they're getting married. What do? You feel rude. And then another instance where, like, you're being shorted, but the person's just not paying you. It's just chaos. So we started invoicing ahead of time because that sucks to do work and to not get paid. And I honestly, I don't think that most people plan to do that maliciously. I don't think that. I just think that the day of a wedding is so hectic that that's the last thing on people's minds. And so when we communicate this with our brides, when we get payment for the full party up front, that's just so they can show up, get their hair and makeup done, and relax that day knowing that everything's been paid for.
100%. Yeah, because their focus is not on paying vendors. It's focused on the biggest day of their life.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And so usually after we do the contract, we send out an invoice. We use PayPal, but, there's lots of different avenues you can go with that.
Yeah, it's more preference on that.
Yes, it is. And just send out an invoice to our brides, and they can pay it at any time. We've even had people pay monthly on it to make it more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so much easier because they can communicate it with their bridal party, and to where they pay us like a vendor, like video, like catering, like whatever. And that's something that they don't have to worry about the day of.
100%.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's the technical, before, and then obviously now kind of talking about into this next topic would be marketing.
Yeah.
So once you kind of figure out your processes behind how do you get more business? So tell us a little bit about some marketing, and then I'll kind of dive into maybe some of the back end stuff on that.
Well, I know when I personally, now I have the most amazing wedding team ever, but I can talk about them later. It was just me, I made sure I used Instagram heavily. I used the hashtags of where I was, either Knoxville, Tennessee weddings, Smoky Mountain weddings. And I would create a story of the wedding day. I would show us setting up for makeup. I would show, action shots. I would show videos of the venue and tag the venue or the florals that were already set up. And then those vendors would reshare my work. And I would make a story of the whole day. And then at the end of the day, after I knew it was ceremony time, I would post pictures of the bride.
Right. The timing was big on that.
Yeah, because you don't ever want to post it before the ceremony. Yeah. So people might see her before she wants to be seen. It is. It's a lot more to think of, but it's also fun because by doing that, then they had my business name, the bride did, the bridal party did. They may not know I do regular hair. So it was also a catalyst to, I really liked her. She had a cool vibe.
Yes. I
want to make an appointment to get my hair cut there, and so it really blossomed our whole business. Some of my most favorite clients were brides.
That day, I think, shows the power of word of mouth.
Yes.
Because everybody's got a question of who did the bride's hair.
Yeah.
Well, what's the average count of people at a wedding? 200, 300, maybe 500?
And your work is up there on display.
Yeah. So that's another reason to just crush it. Because you have literally, a lot of people that have done hair have been doing it since they were young girls. They had a passion for it. And they went to school at the most amazing school in East Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee School of Beauty.
And now they're in the professional world of doing hair. And so it's kind of like, if you're a musician, you've been playing this song for a long time, and now you get the ability to put it in front of everybody. So I love it. So more on the back end marketing. I know that
Yes.
sometimes people have questions like, all right, what else can I do?
Yeah, because I get the pretty and then you get down to like the nitty gritty.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Yes, some detail that I would want to share with people is always think of what you're doing in a consistent manner.
Yeah.
So intensity is great. Like being passionate doing something with any type of marketing is great, but consistently following up with that, saying, hey, I'm going to do this for the next 50 years of my life or 20 years or 30 years. Think about it in that as it's more of a journey and you don't have to sprint all the time. So get as many pictures as you can. Think about awesome content. Our girl Sherry, who handles our coordination of the weddings as well as on site, doing hair and stuff like that. Like I can tell that Sherry has like a true storyteller mindset about the wedding day.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And you can't replicate that unless you're passionate about the person, the day, and everything about it. So if weddings are your thing, become a storyteller and be consistent in how you tell that story. And then the universe is going to reward that. God is going to reward that because you're showing up, you're authentic, and you're pushing yourself. So just think about that. And then Instagram, Facebook, email, text message marketing, website optimization, all that stuff. If you have questions about that, that's more of a bigger build out. But if you're just like, I want to crush wedding hair, be consistent and develop a strategy that's more about your story as the girl that's doing the hair, as well as the story about the girl that's getting her hair done. So that's huge on the marketing side.
Yeah, and I feel like always do more than what's expected of you in the beginning when you're really trying to build those relationships.
Yes.
I used to stay until ceremony time for 90% of my weddings, like when I was starting out, just so I could build those relationships with vendors. So I could build relationships with the photographers and they would get pictures of me like doing touch-ups on the brides, and that would be like an awesome profile picture for me to show like, hey, this is what I do.
Opportunities.
And I would talk to planners, and like I feel like you can always go the extra mile and it's going to pay off in the end.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then if you're listening and you're a salon owner and you want to know how to grow this side of your business, I would really look at your team and see who loves to do those things like we have done with like Sherry. Like she loves weddings. She worked at a brodal store, which we're going to have her on the show soon.
Excited.
Before she worked with us. So it was like the perfect fit for her to come in, and I could delegate, her things, and she's, creative and I'm creative. And so we're a stronger team.
Yeah.
That to come up with cool different things for our brides.
100%. And to double down on what you said about always delivering more than expected.
Yeah.
If something is your passion, you'll do that naturally.
Absolutely.
So you won't even have to think about, well, how do I do more than expected? If it's your passion, you're going to, because you don't really have a time set on it.
No.
And I know that I'm not saying, hey, stay until they're like, hey, you kind of need to get out of here.
No, like it needs to be comfortable.
Yes,
like,
you're still there to do the best absolute job that you can possibly do.
Yeah.
And you're going to go above and beyond on that. So just if it's your passion, a lot of things fall into place because it is your passion.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
And that's really the majority of the marketing topic.
Yeah. And I'd say the last thing, like, to really break in is like I said before, is to make friends with other vendors and your peers in this space. You know, go to bridal shows, hand out cards, talk to people, even other beauty professionals. Like, I know we recommend like 4 other, businesses, stylists, if we're booked, because I hate to just, if they email us and they're like, hey, we want you for this day, blah, 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 and it's booked. I hate to be like, no, sorry. Like we usually send out like, hey, we're booked, but we have, all these people that you can refer to, and then they'll tell them that we referred them, and then they'll start referring us, and it's just good. Like
power of networking.
Yes, I definitely believe 100% in community over competition. There's more than enough for everyone, and it's really cool because we all get to promote each other and then do what we love, and then who knows, somebody might have a stomach virus on a Saturday, and you might have to call somebody, be like, hey, do you have somebody that can help?
Right.
I mean, because weddings can't be rescheduled. So it's just good to build a community with we became a Castleton preferred venue at Castleton Farms in Loudon, and
beautiful
they
place.
are a luxury bridal destination, really. I mean, you stay there all weekend. And so that was great for us to become friends with them. And so we get a lot of their weddings, and it just multiplies the more good you put out there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I love that. And I think we could talk about this for 8 hours. And
I know.
We didn't even eat lunch.
I know, I could.
So
love
if anybody
it so much.
has those questions, because I know when I listen to good content or people talking that are talking about a topic I want to know, I'm like, man, can I ask more questions? So if you have more questions, hit us up on social media, through email. And if you have any questions on anything that we've covered, make sure to, in the comments section on YouTube, any questions you got. There is no limit. Ask away. We will absolutely answer, get feedback to you. That's why we're here. So this is just the beginning of the conversation. So we hope that you ask those questions. There are no such thing as dumb questions. Ask, ask, ask. Love you guys. Stay great.